straight up. I ain't really got much to say right now, but I'ma just pray. Dear Heavenly Father, let the words that I speak on this CD fall on the right ears, and let it guide them to doing the right thing. And in your Son's name I pray. In Jesus' name, amen. It's Trill Will. It's sole purpose. How y'all feeling like that? Let's go.
DirectBeats.com.
Let all those who have ears hear. Jesus Christ is the real deal. I open my heart and he lives here. Can't swallow the truth, that's a real pill. I don't drop bars in my soda. This Star Wars and I'm Yoda. I mean I'm very lethal, but I'm very peaceful. I done got smart and I'm older. I see them cop cars on my shoulder, but I'm not bothered, I'm sober. I'm smoke free, body rock solid, I'm a soldier. What you're listening to is similar to Isaiah 61st chapter, in the form of a rap verse. What you're listening to ain't no rapper, no pastor, but I read the Bible every day, man, on a mission. And I minister to everyone I meet, but don't put your hands on no Christian. See, the Israelites didn't listen, so for 40 years they was drifting. And the promised land was right around the corner. Book of Exodus is where it's mentioned. And in chapter 20, them your 10 commandments. You don't follow them, you at a disadvantage. They got paid for show, but wasn't saving souls, so I felt that I took this gift for granted. Stopped rapping years ago, the last thing you heard, it was gangster. But I'm telling you, if you live by God's word, it'll change you. No record label, no CEO, my boss is born in the manger. See, I'm humble and meek, but I come from the streets. You support my CD, then I thank you. Praise God, I can reach to you. Don't judge me if it don't speak for you. Stay drug free and go seek the truth. You got a choice to make, and what would Jesus do? God knows if you sell your body for some fly clothes or a new Ferrari. Money running the Illuminati, that's a devil's army. We been new about it, ain't nothing new. Matthew 6:24 or 1 John 5:19 if you need some more. Let's go. See, sole purpose means whatever it is that you do it for the Lord. Amen. Whatever talent he blessed you with, amen. Give thanks by giving it back to him. Yeah. And that's your sole purpose. I hope I reach somebody with this message. I used to break bread with the homies, not break bread with whoever hungry. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 27, you know that I'm on it. And I'm sick of seeing all these pictures depicting Jesus as boning. When he carried a heavy cross uphill after being tortured by the Romans. I serve faith, I don't serve fear. And this real, so let the world hear. I was facing 20, so this would have been my third year. Handcuffs, ankle shackles, a waist chain, and a padlock with gang members who can stab, shot, rape, robbed in a bad spot. Prayer works. So in every verse, I spit it like we right there in church. Matthew 6:33 says, seek the kingdom of heaven first. I don't need a crew, clique, squad, a gang, or no fraternity. If God talking about burning me, that's the only threat that's concerning me. I be solo with the Holy Ghost in my heart, guiding me right. Teach my son to say his grace over this green tea and Chinese rice. I praise he for the little things, and he gave me much greater later. No barcode, no features, but God's kingdom is a major label. Work hard and stay humble. This world is a straight jungle. When I turn the other cheek, get out my face, partner, cause I throw combination like a safe number. Temptation is real, avoid the trap. Women got out to the remote like the war in Iraq. Men will shake your hand and put a sword in your back. I survived both, get God glory for that. This ain't a rap, nah. This a congregational hymn. This ain't an intro, This is an invitation to him. God shine a bright light. My situation was dim, and he bigger than any situation you win. Now let's begin. Amen. Sole purpose. Get ready.
Ladies and creatures and gentlemen, this is your host, Mitchell Rulain, and this is a podcast show for the average Joe, where we talk to people from regular society about the things they wrestle with in life and how they can overcome. And we find out all these really cool stories, and we meet these different people, and we build something great. We build a community. That's what it is. Check us out on YouTube, like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification for more content we release once a week. Also, check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcast and Google Podcast and Overcast and Radio Public. There's a bunch of them. One day I'm gonna have a list here where I'm just like reading them all out. But check us out there. Follow us. Tell everybody about the show if you like it. Tell your friends. Tell your family, your grandma, whoever it is. without further ado, I have a awesome guest today by the name of William, and the last name, I'm terrible with the last names. Bradford. William Bradford.
Trill Will in the building.
Trill Will. What's that nickname? Trill Will. What's that all about?
That's actually, that come from high school. Like I used to call myself Lil Will because I was small, small in stature guy. And during the high school era, the whole UGK and Pimp C era, they had a
Wait, real quick. For anybody that doesn't know what you're talking about, explain what that is real quick before you continue on.
In Southern hip hop in the 90s, the word trill, Trill, meant something that was gangster or something that was true and real. It's an authentic person. They're gonna keep it 100 with you. They're gonna give you what they really are. And so I just put that in front of my real name, Trill Will. Yeah.
And so you got the nickname when you were in high school. Obviously, I forgot to mention this too, ladies and gents. He is a local rapper, so that's really awesome. And you said you've been doing that since. When did you get into rapping? I guess per se.
Around about 15 or 16ish. It started by accident. I was actually writing a poem to a girl.
Nice.
And it rhymed pretty good, and I was reading it, trying to go over it over and over again so I could remember it. And my little brother, I got a brother 2 years younger than me. He was playing, I want to say it was Donkey Kong or something on the video game. And the music, he had paused the game and the music kept playing.
Yeah, Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo.
I think that might have been what it was.
Nice.
And I was and as I was reading, I heard myself flowing with the beat. And I said, I might want to, I could write something else. So, give her the love poem and then went back to writing some other stuff, But it is what it is. But,
So you grew up as in a child of the 90s, right? You told me your age earlier. I'm not going to tell now, but you were a child of the 90s.
If they know me, they know my age.
Okay. Yeah, but if they don't know you, they can just wonder and guess, But what are some of the rap groups? Did you listen to like Biggie and Tupac and
I listened to Pop. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't get into Biggie till later after he died. But for the most part, I was a big fan of the No Limit era, UGK, the Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, a little bit of Eazy-E. I was kind of all over.
Did you ever? I'm a huge fan of Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah. Them my boys. Yeah. East 99.
Melodic gangsta.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I like the Bone. Yeah.
My friend Matt here that runs the studio, he got me this game, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and he hacked it to where all the music that played in the background for the video game was all 90s gangsta rap.
Oh, that's tight.
And it was Bone Thugs and Biggie and NWA and Tupac. And it was super awesome. Like you're playing with the Hulk and you're fighting with Ryu, and then there's just gangsta rap in the background. It's excellent.
That's what's up.
So what is rap music the only genre of music that you're into, or do you deviate outside of that?
Well, me personally doing it, I started off doing gangster rap before coming to Christ, and I started doing gospel rap. But as far as what I listen to a lot of jazz, like just on the radio. Like I listen to jazz pretty much every day. I like to listen to just ambient theme music. Like electronic type stuff, just no words, just the music. I listen to that. I listen to classical. I got everything Johnny Cash ever made. So I listen to like a lot of different stuff. I don't. It ain't too much I don't listen to, other than probably a little bit of R&B or something like that.
I gotcha. I used to listen to a lot of Luther Vandross when I was like 19.
Okay.
Everybody was like, "You're the weirdest white boy ever." I used to get in this sauna, and they had like this radio that was inside of it. I went to this like health spa when I was a teenager. It was super weird. And they played Luther Vandross gospel in there. And I was like, and I listened to it so much. I was like, I actually kind of like this. I went out and bought one of his CDs.
Yeah. They was trying to set a mood up in there.
My friends were like, what are you listening to, dude?
Yeah. But it's good. Differences is what make everybody. It's like what you were saying earlier about being in different crowds. You know what I'm saying? Like I may hang out with a guy who's a video gamer. You know what I'm saying? He know everything about video games. And then I may work on cars. And he can't change oil and I can't plug up a PlayStation. But we can help each other out. And I believe that's what we missing a lot nowadays.
Yeah, the trade and bartering. And it's what's great about that too is not only are you getting a trade from somebody that you don't have and then vice versa, or a good or a service, but then you're also connecting with that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yeah.
connecting on them in a general. I'd assume that generally people that are bartering off like that are going to be friendly at some point. If they're not friends, at least they're acquaintances. And I feel like that's really important.
You can make business happen together. That's you.
So tell me something else about you, man. Like I'm just meeting you for the first time. So like what else? What else goes on in your life?
Well, currently life kind of. I'm married, father of 2 kids. Um, one from a previous marriage and one from my current marriage. Hey, babe.
Shout out.
Yeah, beautiful woman.
I'm
But,
born romantic, ladies and gentlemen.
But before I forget, I know we had to do the disclaimer thing before, and I said I got a story about that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
please go ahead.
I also used to be an amateur boxer. So
Oh,
I used
nice.
I used to fight I was like 18 or 19. But and actually, trained with professional coach, had a boxing license and everything, had a few amateur bouts. But they would make us do this disclaimer. That's why I said I'm used to disclaimers, and it would say something to the effect of, if I am seriously injured or if I get killed in this ring, I will not sue anybody. You had to sign it every time before you fight. So it was, it's always it brings you down to earth before while you getting piped up and crumped for the fight. Then when you sign that, you're like, okay, you got to realize that I'm going to participate in a very dangerous, a very dangerous atmosphere. And so that's that was my first introduction to disclaimers.
Okay. Well, okay. But first of all, I'm so glad you told this too, because I'm a huge boxing fan. I used to do a little bit of boxing back in the day. I've dabbled in martial arts throughout my lifetime. But that's awesome, dude. That's super exciting. Like legitimately, like I'm not blowing smoke. Tell me about. I got to ask about the boxing stuff now. So like, how long did you do it, and how many bouts did you have, man?
I trained for about a year. Had maybe like 5 bouts. And I did pretty good, but I couldn't. It was hard, and this go back to rap again. It was hard to balance street life with that ring life, So I started out good, I said out and was in shape and everything. But between going to studios, hanging out, smoking, drinking, doing all this wild stuff, and then coming back trying to train on Monday, it's just I realized that I was going downhill. If I'm not, either the best or toward the top or something, I said, man, I pick a choice. You gonna be a rapper or you gonna be a fighter? And rap on.
Oh, I got you. And I mean, it doesn't.
But I still love it though. I still love boxing.
Yeah, your face stays prettier that way if you pick rapping over boxing.
Yeah. Well, it depend on what you do out there in the rap game. But yeah, I chose rap.
Okay, I mean that's cool. What made you want to get into boxing? What was that all about? Did you get in a lot of fights in school or out in your neighborhood, or just in general, or just not at all? Just a fan of boxing in general and wanted to do it?
Well, I do think me being small, getting into a lot of little scuffles when I was coming up, kind of gave me a want to defend myself. It gave me a want for any type of contact sport. I started out with karate. I took Shotokan, but it was going so slow. Like it was, and I think in 8 months I learned one side kick and one block, and that wasn't going fast enough. So I just I got into boxing by watching it. And when I started watching it on TV, I bought my own heavy bag and started training myself. And I was actually with a girl one time, and she was I was probably about 18 or 19 then. And she was watching boxing. And she said, and I said, leave it right there. I'm saying, don't change the channel. I said, I like this. And she said, you like boxing? I was like, yeah, I've been watching for years. And she said, my brother boxed. I said, really? He ain't never told me, And then I ended up hopping in the van with him, going to the gym, and it kind of just took off from there.
Man, that is so cool.
Yeah. It moved a lot faster than karate. I like boxing. It was easy to learn. I caught on real quick.
Yeah, that hand-eye coordination thing with like, I've always been a big proponent of well-rounded like martial arts and defense, right? Like, because like boxing is just one form of fighting, and then like taekwondo is usually like mostly kicking and stuff like that, and then wrestling is just grappling. Like, like I basically I'm giving like a I'm giving a compliment to mixed martial arts, like.
You watch UFC then?
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, I grew up on kung fu movies and like martial arts stuff, and my buddy used to take karate, and I used to take some classes with him once upon a time, and then I got into a handful of years ago. I don't know the exact number, but it was right when I was getting in my early 20s. I got into a kind of a pseudo MMA gym. They mostly did Muay Thai, kickboxing, and Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And I got in it with a buddy of mine who I used to. We used to spar a lot. Now, neither one of us were training for boxing for real, but I mean, we knew enough, like a left and a right and a little footwork. And me and him used to shadow box and then spar a little bit. And then he wanted to go further, and he got into like this gym where they were teaching Krav Maga, jiu-jitsu, Thai boxing, and then a little bit of grappling and stuff, Greco-Roman wrestling. And he got me in that, and we started training there. And then I kind of got out of that, and then I got into like doing Krav Maga full time. I always wanted to get into boxing just because, even though it is just one form of fighting, because it's one form of fighting, it makes you have to think, I can't use my legs, I can't take this guy down, I can't choke him out. I have to like just use my fist and like my timing and the footwork. And it's funny too, because around the time I was doing the martial arts stuff, I was also doing ballroom dancing, which helped me out a lot with the martial arts because of the footwork.
Yeah. The footwork is a lot. Like my coach told me early on in the gym, your legs gonna carry you in and out of trouble. So we need to get that straight before you even learn how to punch. You know what I'm saying? Let's just start like old school coaches to build you from the legs up. Hey, shout out to Greg Young, Coach Greg Young. Appreciate everything you did for me. But yeah. So that they say the ballet helps out a lot too, but I ain't never take no ballet.
It's also it's very rhythmic, right? Doing boxing and stuff like that is, if you've got like rhythm to like move and stuff, like it flows better. You're not stiff and
yeah. That's crazy. I got rhythm in the ring, but I can't dance.
High five.
Yeah. All day.
I love this guy. I just met this guy. I love this guy.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So, when you took boxing and stuff, did you ever have to use that discipline, like in real life? You ever get in some sticky situations where your boxing got you out?
Not really.
Okay. But that's a good thing, though, right? Like, it's good to have it and not use it than not have it and need it, and then
you'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Yes, amen to that. That's really cool, man. And also, like with boxing, man, the cardio that is really, really good. Because I've done drills. I've done boxing drills before and stuff like that. And the first time I did, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with this. This is crazy.
Yeah. That's where all the hard partying I was doing, that's where it showed. I remember like one of the last times I was sparring with a dude who was like brand new to the sport. And he was much bigger than me, normally a slower guy. And I couldn't get away from him. And I was wondering, but back then I was smoking, drinking, pill popping and everything. So it was confusing. I was like, man, why I can't get off these ropes? And I'm moving around, and every time I look up, he right there again. And then I tried to jump rope, and my side was hurting. I said, no, this ain't rap life ain't mixing up with it. They're not merging real good.
I got you. That's super cool though, dude. The fact that I didn't even know that you did like boxing. It's super cool. I love it.
Yeah. When you gave that disclaimer, it gave me that idea. It reminded me of that.
Yeah. Do you ever think that? Do you still train now? Just like on?
Yeah, just for my own personal, and I'm training my sons
fitness
too.
And a little health.
Yeah,
stuff.
I got like.
It's really good. It's really good for your health. Like it's good for your cardiovascular system and flexibility, and also timing. Really helps people with timing and stuff like that.
I got an 11-year-old boy. He's pretty good at it, and then I got a 3-year-old. So the 3-year-old, of course, he don't really know what he's doing yet. He just he put the gloves on backwards, looking like crab claws. But my other boy, he pretty tight with it. I got a little gym set up at the house, and we go over stuff, but not that I want him to be a fighter. I just want him to know that if somebody do touch you, this is what you need to do.
Yeah, just for self-defense purposes. I mean, if nothing else, that's what's the good thing about it. It's really cool. So then you ended up getting out of boxing because you wanted to choose rap as something more to chase after. Did you? How does that look? What did you get into a group, or like how does that look afterwards?
Yeah, well, actually, me and another guy, we formed a group. It was called the Free Agents. Shout out Alabama Slim. Hello, still love you, my boy. But we ended up joining the group and going with this record label called OV. It was a local label called OV Entertainment. Shout out Big Gun, Cleasy. And we ended up actually doing a few nice little gigs, opening up for some artists that at the time was big names. And some of them may still be, like we opened up for Gucci Man, Boosie. We opened up for T.I.'s little entourage he got, get their name. Pimp Squad Click, yeah. So we did a couple shows here and around you know what I'm saying, in Alabama, some in Huntsville, some down in Tuscaloosa. And it was, it was, and I put out a few little mixtapes or whatever, and it was actually going, I guess, in the way that I wanted it to go, you know. But things, it's crazy, but things, it panned out another way. I put it like that.
It panned out. What is that? Can I ask that? How did it pan out?
Well,
Let's hear about that.
Cause doing that type of music and living that type of lifestyle or whatever, that's I kind of how I got into the gospel rap, cause I ended up getting in some trouble, pretty serious trouble actually, and ended up going to jail and actually facing a lot of time. While in jail is where I started reading my Bible. And I was taking it serious, but I wasn't taking it serious. I just was something to do, just to stay out of trouble. But was in there for quite a while, well, a month, and then got out. And while I was out on bond, still facing trials, when I started reading my Bible even more. And they was trying to get me come back to the studio. And I tried to get back into the lifestyle, but it's like it wasn't there no more. And I made a few little more gangster songs after that. But then I started writing these other verses that I just writing at night. And I couldn't, I don't know, I didn't have no rhyme or reason, no format for it, but I was just writing another verse. And all of them was about Jesus. All of them was about trials and tribulations. All of them was about God and prayer and overcoming things. And pretty soon I went through the little iPod I had. My wife she had bought me an iPod. So I went through there and I said, wait a minute, I got enough material here to make more, a couple of songs out of this. This might be a whole CD. I just went in there and just started recording. I didn't even have no title for the CD or nothing. The CD I just gave y'all is the product of that time when I was out sleeping on my mama's floor and all that.
Yeah, I can't wait to listen to it, man. Thanks for that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how it, So I just took a different route. Still music, but I just went a different way. And my other guys, they still doing the type of music that they was doing.
Where can I ask if were you scared when you went to jail? Obviously,
no,
not at all.
No, it wasn't. It actually, because that ain't really what changed. Like that didn't make me change. The thing which the case is dismissed now, and it's been years. So I talk about it a little bit, for the parts that I can. But it was. I had a violent altercation, and the place that it happened at was in the same. It was a home dwelling, and my oldest son was there. My other son wasn't born yet, and the fact that he was there, present at the altercation, the state of Alabama took my son from me. And so when they did that, that woke me up, and that happened while I was in jail. I didn't know what was going on. I had been there maybe 3 months already, and I got some paperwork slid under my cell door telling, hey, we taking them, and you can't see them, blah blah. You know what I'm saying? You commit acts of violence in front of people, and
That had to have been very painful.
oh, that was rough. That was I don't think they got a word. Painful is one word, but it was horrific. What I would call it. But that's what finally woke me up. And someone was like, "No, can't go back in the streets. You can't be riding around with guns. You can't, continue to drink and smoke and do whatever you're doing. You need to tighten up." And then that's when I really started taking the word serious. Then.
I don't know, finding religion in jail. How did that come to you? Did somebody give you a Bible? Did you seek it? Like, how does that work?
It was it was actually weird because there's so much stuff floating around in there. But
I bet.
This Bible's already just gonna be in there. They floating around the cell block. Some of them got pages tore out of them. Some of them, it's all kinds of books. But then you got like a lot of Muslims in there. They tried to recruit me to join Islam. Like it was crazy, But I stuck with what I read that. But I also studied a few other little things. Like I studied Buddhism, But it just wasn't hidden right. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. It's a lot of good stuff. I liked it with that. Islam was kind of a turn off. But
somebody told me once that sometimes the best education you can get is going to jail. Unfortunately, because all you have is time.
It's time, yeah,
and time to think and time to read and reflect. And sometimes that like. You come out of there a better person than you did going in, it just by a mentality standpoint. And like I always wondered about that, but it always made sense to me. And even talking to you now, it makes more sense to me how that works out.
Yeah. And because you don't have no distractions. I mean, you got distractions, but not as bad. Like in the free world, like here, we can get distracted by anything. You know, you driving a car, you're going shopping, you paying bills, and no, you ain't no bills to pay, ain't no shopping to do. I mean, you stuck. You know what I'm saying? And so you gotta find something. You know, but that's only if you choose to. Now you can go in there and let it mess you up worse, or you can go in there and go right back. You know what I'm saying? But this was about 10 years ago when I went. But I ain't never been back since, and I ain't going. You know. So,
Good. I hope not.
yeah, made a change. You know, made a change and been sticking with it. You know, and it's been smooth.
So, do you think that like finding faith helped you through being in jail and then getting out? Like it was. Would you say that was probably like your catalyst for keeping you strong or whatever?
You have to rely when you're totally helpless. Like they say, there are no atheists in a foxhole. You know, so when you're totally helpless, you got to depend on something else. And if these lawyers ain't talking right, can't depend on them. If you know, family and friends who's supposed to be helping out, which that's not the case in my case because everybody was there for me. If they not helping out, you know, boom, you got to rely on something. You can't rely on the stuff you can see. So you got to find a higher power. You know, and to some people it's this God, to some people it's that God. You know, and to me, I made my choice.
Yeah. Also, I feel like in my own personal and professional opinion, I think that sometimes it's really good, maybe even most of the time. Well, maybe not most of the time. I don't know, but hitting bottom for people, rock bottom, can be a big, big blessing, big time. Because when you hit bottom, like there's no place else to go but up. So I feel like it is a positive thing in itself. Because anything other than that, then you're dead, and then it doesn't matter anyway, right? So like if you hit bottom, all you can do is go up from that point, or stay on bottom. And most people, they're not going to want to stay on bottom.
Yeah. That's I would I ain't gonna say I would recommend it, but I would recommend everybody at least for 30 days just to lose everything you ever had, and it's gonna show you who you are, and not only that, then you're gonna show the world who you are. You know, so it's hard times teach us good lessons, but that's if we choose to learn from them. Because I could have easily not chose to learn.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I feel there are people out there that don't. They don't get it.
Yeah, they are. I know them.
Yeah, it's only when we've lost everything that we're truly free to gain anything.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Put that on a shirt.
Well, that's a quote from Chuck Palahniuk. He's an American author.
Okay. Yeah. I'm big into the books too. I do. I'm a history buff, so I study. I got a built-in bookshelf at the house.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
my wife would tell you I spend a lot of time in there.
I'm a very avid reader too, dude. Like, so, you know, like when ladies, they go to the store or the mall and they're spending so much time looking at the clothes, I'm that in a bookstore. Right? Like I've had so many ex-girlfriends be like, "Oh my God, can we leave? You basically read half the book. Why don't you just buy it? Like, what is going on here?"
Yeah. I done had that same conversation. And,
I was like, well, if I read it all, I don't have to buy it.
Yeah. There you go. If we stay a little bit longer, I can kind of get the gist of it close to the end.
But yeah, at my house I have this really big black bookshelf, and it's such a mixed bag of stuff, man. I've got and the shelf is separated with like general fiction.
Yeah.
I have do it yourself shelf with like general things about like home stuff or camping and first aid. I have books on psychology, physiology, biology, because I'm a huge science nerd. And then I've got a lot of autobiographies. I get to read about people's life and stuff like that. And I have a section that's just poetry. You know, you got your Walt Whitmans and Robert Frost in there, of course. And then I've got one big section, probably bigger than it should be, of nothing but like comic books and graphic novels, man. That's my reading junk food. I don't even like to call it junk food though, man, because I've gotten some really good lessons and got some really great insights from those stories, man.
Yeah, I got a comic section, comics and graphic arts and stuff. Because growing up, I was in the X-Men and Marvel and you know all that. Incredible Hulk was my favorite. You know what I'm saying? And then I kind of switched over to the Punisher for a little bit. And right now I'm kind of on Daredevil.
Daredevil?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. He kind of. I thought he was weak when I was little because I didn't understand, you know, how dope he really is.
Yeah, he's a super badass dude, man. He's so, and he's blind, but he has all these senses, and like he's kind of like the Batman for Marvel, but he actually has super abilities, whereas Batman does not.
Yeah. I like Batman, DC, Marvel, both of them. You know, and I used to read. I don't even know if they're still around, but they had this comic book company called Image.
Yeah. It was founded by Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane because they were both working for Marvel, and then there's some you should read this up later. It's a very interesting story. But they had some kind of falling out with Marvel because Jim Lee was doing X-Men in the 90s. And then I think Todd McFarlane, I don't know what he was working on, but they had a falling out, and then they got together and started their own comic book
That's
company,
where they come from.
Image.
Okay.
And then Todd had Spawn.
Yeah.
And then Jim Lee did, I think, the Wildcats and a
Yeah.
couple other pieces.
I forgot about the Wildcats. Yeah.
I think they had a cartoon of that.
Yeah, they sure did.
In the late 90s or something.
Dude with the little brass knuckle guns.
Yeah, and they had the big green dude with the spikes on his.
Yeah. You took me back then.
Heck yeah, dude. It's that nerd culture. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a huge fan of The Incredible Hulk, I don't know if you've read it. You might have. If you haven't, The Last Titan, it's a one-off book. Like, it's a one-off story. It's written by David Beard. He's the same guy that wrote Future Imperfect, where the Hulk goes into the future in this dystopia. And the future is ran by an evil version of himself who survived all the hero. And there's just a little bit of the humans left, and he rules them. He's like their dictator, and he's like a horrible person. He fights them on it. Anyways, this guy who wrote a one-off called The Last Titan, and it's where the Hulk is him and his alter ego Bruce Banner, the last living being, human being on the face of the planet. Like, nuclear fallout happened. The Earth is a barren wasteland, and the only thing that's alive on the planet is there's some plants still alive, but is the Hulk, and then these giant man-eating cockroaches. And he fights. I don't want to give too much away, but he fights on. But the story, David wrote it in honor of the story of Prometheus from Greek mythology. And I'm just going to say that anybody that knows the story of Prometheus, then you're like, oh, cool. And if you don't, then you should look it up because it's deep. It's a really deep story. And the way it ends, punched me right in the feels. So check that out. The Hulk, The Last Titan, or it's either called The Last Titan, and then the other alternate title is The End, I think. Real good story. He just walks, and it's just his thoughts. He's thinking. He's still, him and the Hulk, the Banner and the Hulk are still battling each other for dominance, and it's
he should be on the wrestling Diaries.
Yes,
he really wrestled with himself.
Excellent story. Even if you don't like comic books, I feel like you read that, and I feel like it's very captivating.
Where if I can ask you a question, where did you get that name from, or where did you come up with
the Wrestling Diaries? So
when I saw it, I thought it had something to do with wrestling.
Of course.
And I said, oh,
another
man.
one, Matt. We should do a stat sheet, Matt, and see what the percentage of people think this is about pro wrestling.
I saw my boy Chris on the shout out Chris Washington, and I said, man, Chris gonna be a wrestler now. What is it? It's kind of dangerous, man.
Oh, I love it. He said he would. We were talking about he would love to be a professional wrestler. He loves wrestling, man. He still watches it.
Why that name?
So the Wrestling Diaries came about. Me and my friend Matt here, we grew up and we had a backyard wrestling fight club.
Oh yeah,
and we were very elaborate. Like, our stuff was more about the theatrics than it was the actual drama of action. And what I mean by that is ours is more like we do skits and sketches with costumes and funny. I mean, we still wrestled and all that stuff, but I wrote there's storylines. It was following a narrative.
Okay, yeah.
And there was characters.
Yeah.
I created this fictional story. The basis of it surrounds this guy named Commissioner Seth, who's the boss. He's kind of like this pseudo Vince McMahon type, super diabolical but very evil and shady and all this stuff. And he was, "Oh, I'll fire you, you piece of crap." And that was the voice that I used. And I wore this white wig and and a suit. This guy's probably like, "Oh my God, these guys are crazy."
So it went from backyard wrestling to studio wrestling.
Yeah, basically. So, all right. And not to get off in any more tangents here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
we'll be down the rabbit hole.
At some point, I was like, obviously we don't do it anymore, but we came up with some really great stories. The storyline was the basis of a guy. He's this evil guy, and he's running this company fighting against one of the top guys who's a good guy. And then he had a son who was up and coming, and he became a bad guy at one point, and then he switched over, and the end was kind of like a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker type of thing, right? So that's kind of the basis, the summary of the storyline. So I wanted to write a book, or I don't want to, I'm going to write this book. And what it is at some point, the commissioner of the company, he ends up getting the company taken away from him by his son. His son has him committed to an insane asylum and takes over his company.
Oh.
And while he's in this asylum, he has a diary that he keeps up with, and he writes in it.
Okay.
And he writes about the biz. He writes about his hatred for his son and how he's going to come back and take the empire back. He talks about his life, And the name, the Wrestling Diaries, based on that, is a double entendre, which is two meanings. The Wrestling Diaries is based off a fictional story about pro wrestling, loosely, right? And then also, he's like wrestling with himself. He's wrestling with these demons. He's wrestling with his life. So it's the Wrestling Diaries.
Yeah.
Then when I thought to do a podcast, I was like, I want to talk to people, regular people from society, about the things they struggle with. Like what do people fight with, and how do they try to overcome that stuff, and what does it mean to them, and what does it mean to somebody else? And the Struggling Diaries just doesn't have a nice ring to it. So
No, I don't. I'm glad.
That's the gist of how the name The Wrestling Diaries came about. Thanks for asking that. Like, you're one of the few people that actually ask. Most people are just like, oh, he's weird. He named this thing about wrestling. Ain't nothing to do with wrestling.
Well, in my opinion, almost everybody weird, just in different areas. It's simple as that.
I'm probably like the weirdest guy ever.
But yeah, I'm happy you didn't call it the Struggling Diary. It
just doesn't sound good. The Wrestling Diaries. There's a good ring to it. I have a friend from London. She's an actual author. She writes books and stuff like that. And she's like, oh my God, that title is just so good. It's very captivating. Like, it flows really well. It's just
and you can. It's a broad spectrum, because a guy might come in here and he could be wrestling with anger. Another guy could come in and be wrestling with depression. You might have a female come in here wrestling with drug abuse or anything.
Sure.
So it's everybody wrestling with something, whether they want to talk about it or not. And I think everybody's wrestling with multiple things. So we wrestling as a society against ourselves.
I feel like the biggest opponent that people wrestle with is themselves.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You're always wrestling with. So even if you don't admit it, even if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I don't have a problem, I'm fine, it's everybody else is wrong. No, you are.
That's the first sign
you're wrestling yourself big time.
Yeah,
big time. Yeah, man. It's just the point of the show is just to bring people together in the community, and I call it the podcast show for the average Joe, because like the target audience that I go after are people from the middle of society, right? Like lower middle class and lower class people and stuff like that. Like, this show isn't for people that are like upper middle class or first class or whatever. And somebody's gonna listen to this and be like, because I have a lot of professional friends that might listen to this. Like, what are you talking about? Screw you. No, all I'm saying is, like, anybody can get something from this, but I want to know what people from, like,
we call it the trenches.
Yeah, the trenches. There you go. Perfect.
There you go.
Because we, like normal people from the middle part of society and the lower part of society, make up the majority of the population. So what do they have to say? What are their thoughts? What are their truths? Right? You can't believe everything you hear on the news. I mean, really, at this point, I don't know if you can believe anything.
Yeah, I don't follow the news.
And so I feel like it's really important. I at some point when this thing really like takes off big time, even if I have the opportunity to have like high-end guests, celebrities, sports athletes, senators, whatever, I'm not going to turn them down, especially if they want to be on the show. But it's not like I just want I want regular people here, right? So I mean, I feel like that's very important.
That's what's up. What's up, man?
So yeah, man. You're not supposed to ask me questions. I ask you questions. I'm kidding. No, you can ask me all the questions you want, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
So what are your goals now? Like, what do you want to accomplish ultimately? Do you have like an ultimate goal for, I don't know, a profession or the way you want to handle life? Like, what does it look like? Do you want to be a professional rapper? Do you want to just?
I really don't want to be a professional. I don't want to sign to no major label and all that kind of stuff. If there's a way for me to just get my music out, which you can check out on we'll put a link in there. But if I could just get my music out just to other on a digital platform, to other states, other countries, which some of it has already gone out because I got it on SoundCloud. But my main goal is just getting the music out, raising them two boys of mine, and I've done like some public speaking. I've done like testimonies at different churches and other youth groups and stuff. I've spoken at a couple of boot camp and like they have these teenagers that be in this drug task force program, and they got ankle monitors on. They too young for jail, but they old enough to know better. So I would me and my man John Paul Taylor, real life poet, we had a nice little thing going where I was coming and speaking to them. So I probably would like to do more of that, more of the public. I like to be more out of the studio than in the studio. You know, making songs is one thing, but actually getting out here, reaching the people that's hurting or the people that need to hear some inspiration, then I'd rather do that more so. So ain't no telling. It may develop into its own little business. I might be running something independent. I don't. Right now, I'm just playing it by ear.
Yeah, you seem like you're just going with the flow. I like that. I like the concept of like I mean, you have these directions, but there's not something like you have to hang your. Some people just like they can't go to sleep at night without knowing they have to hang their hat on whatever it is specifically they're chasing. And you have things you're chasing, but it's just.
But that's another thing about hitting rock bottom. I've learned. It's gonna sound crazy, but I learned don't make no plans. If you make a definite plan, if you make a plan A, you need at least all the other 25 letters of the alphabet because it might not. If I just bank on this one thing, what if this don't pan out for me? What if this not God plan for me? I need to be able to, I might want to land a left hook, but if he keep blocking it, I might have to go with uppercut. You know what I'm saying?
I love the boxing analogy.
Yeah, life is a fight. So you gotta look at it like a fight. I might want to throw the shot I want to throw, but if life won't allow it, then I pick another shot. I'm still winning the fight, but I just may have to win it another way. And that's how I am.
It's very well said, man. That's a very good point.
Appreciate
I
it.
feel like anybody listening to that too should. There's so much you can take from that. There's like, it's just like a cornucopia of help and information. It really is. That's great, man. And you got a hell of a testimony too. Like going to jail and having to struggle, having your son taken away, and then coming out and finding your faith and finding yourself and
got the case dismissed, and I got my son back.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a hell of a testimony. You should write a book. I'm talking about writing a book. You need to write a book for real.
I'm thinking about it.
Like no joke. You should write a book. Look into how like it all goes. Or if you want to like, I haven't started on my book yet. Well, I'm actually writing a book before that, a compilation of poetry that has graphic art to it. And after I get that done, then I'll probably try to tackle the Wrestling Diaries book because that's going to be like a big book, and I've got to like put a lot into that. It might take me some years to make that. Probably.
That's what's up. I actually know a couple authors. Yeah. I didn't kind of dabbled around with that too.
I need to come up with what is it, they call it, the pseudonames or whatever.
A pen name.
Yeah, the pen name.
Yeah.
I got to think of something funny. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna call myself. I'll think of something.
It'll come to you.
It'll come to me. Yeah. So, William, obviously you're heading in a really good direction now, man. You seem like you have a really good head on your shoulders. What you're doing. You're a strong man of faith. You hashtag God Squad here.
Yeah. Shout out my sister-in-law. She makes these shirts for us. Yeah.
But what are things that you fight with now? What are the things that you struggle with now? What are you wrestling with?
More or less now, staying on the course. And like you choose a path in life, you choose the team you're gonna ride for, and which I'm not gonna turn my back on God, but backsliding is still an issue. You know what I'm saying? Like I may be full of scripture one day, reading good, you know what I'm saying, been on my sermons for the whole week, and then I just have an off day. I have a bad day, and some dude say something crazy at a gas station or something stupid happened, you know what I'm saying? Or it could just be a regular a disagreement at work or a argument with somebody, and before I know it, my thought process is back in the street, and I gotta hurry up and check it real quick, you know what I'm saying, before I do something crazy, So wrestling against myself, that, wrestling with trying to be more extroverted instead of more introverted, because I really don't. A lot of people can't tell it, but I really don't. I'm not a big people person. I like to just stay out of the way. I don't like people like that. I'd rather be at the house. But getting out there, if you want to get the word of God out there, you got to get out there. And so I'm wrestling with making myself more people friendly, I guess, because I'm not used to being that, not even from my own personality or from the background I come from, So it's just, I'm working with that. That's I guess that's the biggest thing I'm wrestling right now.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years, man?
Hopefully retired. Now I'm telling
You're
my
too young
age.
to retire, bro.
Not in about 10 years. Man, ain't no telling. Ain't no telling. 'Cause I got a son. Well, one of my sons will be in college, so hopefully he'll have a scholarship. Got to save him some money. The other one will be around middle schoolers age. But it's hard. It's hard for me to say because in just the past 5 years, I went from being homeless to being in jail to sleeping on the floor to getting an apartment, and now I'm a homeowner. And so and I went from being married to the wrong person, fighting a terrible divorce, actually getting everything, finding a new beautiful wife. 10 years is a long time for me because so much happened in 5 years that as long as I'm comfortable and my son's happy in 10 years, I'm good to go.
That's probably a bad question because we were just talking earlier about how you're just going with the flow. You're just flowing.
10 years. No, ain't no bad questions.
I feel like you're just
that's a long time.
With the stuff that you've been through the ringer, no pun intended. And I feel like you're just happy to just have whatever, right? It's like I always tell people this: people don't use enough of their powers of perspective. The majority of people, and it makes me very sad, right? Because I sit back and I think about these things all the time. I think about what it's like. I've thought about what it's like to be in jail or prison. I've thought about what it's like to live in some communist lockdown country where you can't even say anything, and then you're in jail or they're cutting your hand off. You know what I mean? And people are literally, it's crazy to think about, right? We're sitting here comfortable under this roof. The temperature feels okay. We've got nice clothes on. We're both probably, you've got some water. I ate earlier. We're feeling good. But what's so interesting to think about right now, like somebody is dying in the street somewhere, right? Or there's some kid like walking around, splash around and piss and in some street. And that's their life. And that's always their life. It's not just, this is what's happening today. That's always their lives. And if you ever experienced something like that, and you obviously have because you went to jail, so you've definitely had some of the dark side of the underbelly of society, it really makes everything taste so much sweeter after that. And people don't sit back and think about that enough. And I'm always preaching that constantly.
They don't think about it because they hadn't seen it. Ain't been a reality like when my cellmate showed me how to wash our clothes in the toilet. To me, it was a foreign concept. I was like, man, what are you crazy? We just got through using it. But where else you gonna wash it? You're not going to the laundromat. You know what I'm saying? So you got it. But people don't. If you ain't seen a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff don't register with you. But
I feel like people should they need to use their power of perspective. And I feel like you've got a really great perspective now. That's why you're just going with this flow of life. Because you've tasted desperation, you've tasted darkness, everything else to you is just
a lot of stuff
candy.
It's candy. And people say that in my job a lot because a lot of stuff don't bother me that bothers them or get on their nerves and they get all worked up about stuff that I just be looking like, are you serious? That's you worked up about that, when you could be in a life or death situation every day that you wake up. Come on, man.
Very true. It's funny you brought that up. I was a waiter once upon a time at this really nice seafood restaurant, and there's this guy there, and he was just pissing and moaning and huffing and puffing. And I was like, hey, man, what's wrong, bro? And he's like, table 7, they're just being assholes, and I can't, I don't know, and I've got to get this other table, and the manager's breathing on my neck, man, just this job, man. I was like, you would have thought he was taking an ice bath the way he's breathing. And I go, dude. And I said this kind of sarcastically, but also with real meaning behind it. I meant what I said, but I was like, I go, it could be worse. You could be being tortured and maimed in some foreign country right now, or you could be being shot at in Afghanistan or something. And I said that just like that. And then he stops and he goes, yeah, I guess I don't really think about that, do I? But it's true though.
But oftentimes we don't want to hear that, when we're going through something let's say my car break down. I had a car trouble. I hope that don't happen, but let's say my car break down and then I'm mad about it or I'm upset. And then somebody say, well, at least you got a car. There's some people that's on foot. And then they put it in perspective.
Yeah. Really, it's not very hard to find a little bit of optimism. I'm not one of these people that I'm just, everything's good. My house is on fire. Yay! My car broke down. I broke my leg. It's good. God's good. No, but like the thing is like I just don't stay in that place, not for long. Like I get pissed off and I get upset about things, but I don't stay there. And I also use a power perspective, hashtag power perspective. I don't know if that's a real hashtag, but it is. I feel like it's really important. Like what you're saying about like the car thing, like what could be worse? A little optimism, gents, goes a long way, Well, man, this has been a really great episode, dude. I love meeting people for the first time and just like clicking off on all cylinders like this.
When I saw the comic books up there, I knew I was in good hands.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Matt's a huge Batman guy. He's probably no, he's more of a Joker guy. He's a villain guy. He likes the villains.
Yeah, my wife liked the Joker. She don't like Batman.
Yeah, I like bad guys.
It's because he's a bad guy.
Sometimes you just have to, get tired of saving the world. You got to destroy it sometimes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, chaos. He's an agent of chaos. That's what the Joker says in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
An agent of chaos. Is it okay if Matt uses some of your music from this on the show?
Man, that's fine.
Like maybe playing at the beginning or the end, or just during a segment or something like that?
Yeah. I don't know what the copyright things is, but I did take a Led Zeppelin instrumental on the last song. So.
How many tracks are on this?
8 tracks.
8 tracks.
Eight tracks,
cool.
man. Yeah.
So, real quick, I want you to plug in your. How can people find your music? How can they find you? How can they follow you? How can they chat with you? Send you a goodie basket.
Music on. Yeah. My music is on SoundCloud.com. You just type in www.soundcloud/Trill Will 205. It's 205. The quickest way to get me is on Twitter, and that's Twitter at Trill Will 205. I'm also on Facebook, but I don't get on that much because it seems to be a den of depression on there, so I stay off there. And I got Instagram too at Trill Will 205. So any one of them sites, and you can direct message me or just at me, and I usually respond within 5 hours. Something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, check him out. And thanks for wanting to be on the show, man. So
thanks for having me.
For people, I don't think I mentioned this in the actual show, but William here, he saw another episode. Actually, a friend of yours was on, Chris Washington. Shout out. And then you were intrigued and you wanted to come on and do this.
Yeah.
And you told me before the podcast started that you've never done anything like this before. You've never done like a radio thing and so this is I feel like me and Matt feel very honored that you would want to
I'm glad to
spend a Saturday with us, man.
Hey, it's been great, man. I want to thank y'all for having me on here. It was good looking out.
Yeah, I think I hope people get a lot from this episode. They should. I feel like I've got a lot, and you're a really cool guy, man. Got to keep up with each other. You got to check out that whole comic, man.
I am. Yeah.
Really
We're gonna link up. Yeah.
But thanks again, brother.
Ain't no problem.
At some point, I have to have you back on. I say this to everybody. I want this to be like this contrived thing. I'm just like, I'm gonna have you back on, and you never have on. Right now, we're still in season 1, so I've had other guests that have been on before that want to come back.
Okay.
But I want to like try, because I have a list of people that want to come on the show. So maybe season 2, I'll get some returns.
That'll work.
Wait till hopefully we can survive the rest of 2020 and make it into 2021.
Yeah. We gonna make.
All right, man. Thank you so much for being on the show, dude. God bless you, man,
all right,
and everything you do.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another episode of the Wrestling Diaries podcast show for the average Joe. We had a really awesome guy on here, Trill Will. Did I say that right? Trill Will. My bad.
You go.
My bad.
All
Trill
good.
Will. Check him out. He's rapping. You gonna spit some bars for us?
Yeah.
I do that? Yes.
give you some.
So
yeah.
tune in after this, after me clunking around here to close out the show, and he's gonna do some rap for us. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. As always, check us out on YouTube. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification for more content. Tell your friends about us. Tell everybody. Tell your grandma. Also, check us out on Spotify to listen to the content. Hear my cool recording for Anchor. And if you want to start your own podcast, check out anchor.fm. It's really awesome. It's effortless. You could do a podcast with your cell phone. It's that simple. Also, check us out on Apple Podcasts as well, Google Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and all the other long plethora lists of hosts for podcasts. This is a great episode. I hope somebody can take it with more than a grain of salt, and I hope it resonates and really challenges us. Right? Power of perspective. Think about that. Think about what it's like to be in somebody else's shoes. It's really important, right? We're too comfortable. We're just, especially here in this country, we're just way, 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 way too comfortable. Get out of your comfort zone, challenge yourself a little bit. What do you wrestle with? And how can you beat it? One love.
Welcome to the field of the fatherless. Birmingham City, you get killed. No apologies. You reap what you sow. Universal theology, that's Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. Read the policy. You could be saved from your sin, just acknowledge it. Ask for forgiveness through prayer. In all honesty, the Bible teach wisdom that's beyond any colleges. Your city full of homeless, but your state got a lottery. Holy Spirit fire, boy, you know I got a lot in me. God is my rock, and they rock is the economy. The world blind. Strong mind is like my brain can curl iron after trial to give you time served or you serve time. They thought gospel rap was soft until they heard mine. My God created every man, beast, and every bird flying. He's all powerful. Yahweh is his name, and he knows your every thought, and y'all think it's a game.